Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. So we have a special video today. This is the Battle of the Beasts. Here we have two robot vacuum slash mop combos. We have the RoboRock S7 Plus versus the Ecovacs Deebot X1 Omni. That's a lot. So I either refer to this as the S7 Plus or the Deebot, just to be short. We've got a lot to cover in a short amount of time, so let's get started. All right, so the first thing that you'll notice when these things come in the box is that these things are massive, and I'm really not just talking about the vacuums themselves, it's more the docking slash charging stations. I was actually pretty surprised when the Deebot arrived just how huge this thing was. Of course, the dogs had to get their sniffs in, had to check it out and just see what the new was in the house. But you'll see from the S7 Plus that's a lot more conservative, it's a lot smaller. The Deebot, actually, I have the docking station kind of stowed over there in the corner in my living room, just because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. I know with older vacuums, it was difficult for it to find its docking station, especially if it's like off in the corner, but the Ecovacs has had no issues with that whatsoever. But for this video, I'm gonna go kind of just over the features of both of them, the pros and cons, and then really, so I'm not even gonna, I'll spoil alert, I'm gonna return this one and keep the Deebot, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll figure out why. I'll go over some reasons why that I'm returning this S7 Plus and I'm keeping the Deebot. All right, so going into features, so in terms of suction power, the S7 Plus has 2,500 pascals of sucking power versus the Ecovacs, which has over 5,000. So of course, in this case, the higher the pascals, the greater the suckage, so to speak. So you're gonna see that the Ecovacs is able to, pick up a lot more on your floors. I haven't tested this on carpet just because I have two dogs and my carpet's only upstairs. So I'm only using this vacuum slash mop combo only for my downstairs, just because, that's where the dogs are most of the time. And that's where a lot of the foot traffic is. So I want to keep the downstairs as clean as possible. All right, so first thing you'll notice is that the Deebot has two cameras in the front versus the S7 Plus, which doesn't have any. It also has two sensors, one on each side. The RoboRock only has kind of one here on the indent here on the side. And the first thing I've noticed is that the Deebot doesn't hit anything versus the S7 Plus, which does. If you can see on the front here, all these marks, that's actually hitting the corners on my baseboards on my wall. So shout out to Ecovacs for, with the cameras on this, it's a solid product. It has yet to hit anything. When I have this running and I'm upstairs, I can already tell when it's hitting something, I can hear it. And then it also likes to hit the doorstop, so it makes that kind of boingy noise. So this thing is kind of subpar when it comes to not running into anything. All right, speaking again of these cameras, so the good thing about having the cameras here in the front is more for avoidance detection. Ecovacs actually likes to, they actually advertise this as their poop detection, which kind of backstory, the only reason I got a new robot vacuum is because I was watching a puppy over the weekend and it decided to go potty on the floor, and the shark vacuum decided to smear it everywhere. So it was unrecoverable. It was dead. There was nothing I could do. So RIP shark vacuum. It was a good 8 months we had together, but time for you to go. So in terms of the tanks, water tanks respectively, the RoboRock has one 300 milliliter tank here on the back. That's it. That's all you're getting. So you're gonna find yourself having to replace this, fill it with water a lot more often. It's pretty simple though, it just kind of clips here in the back, and when it's actually plugged into the station, it will tell you whether it's removed or not. Versus the Deebot doesn't have just one, it technically has four. It has one clean water tank and one dirty water tank in the vacuum itself. It also has two additional tanks, one for clean water and one for dirty water in the charging station itself. And they're huge. They're 4 liters a pop. I actually have the clean water one here. And just look at this thing. This is massive. So this kind of goes more into the hands-off experience where I just kind of want to set it and forget it. Really, the only time I've ever touched this thing is to empty and fill the water. That's it. But yeah, look at this, 4 liters. It's humongous. Another advantage that the Deebot has over the S7 Plus is The Deebot can use cleaning solution, the S7 Plus cannot. It specifically said in the instructions that cleaning solutions might possibly, corrode some of the parts or some of the tubing that's in here. So literally it's just, you're just spraying water on the floor, that's it. Versus this, where finally I just got some cleaning solution in, you just throw it in this clean water tank and boom, you're good to go. All right, so talking about the overall mopping features in terms of the pads, we're gonna kind of go into that a little bit more. So the S7 Plus has this singular pad. It is dirty, so bear with me here, but this is it. So when you want to set this into mopping mode, or say that you want to clean it, you have to take the pad off, you have to rinse it under the sink, or you have to put it in the washer or anything like that. And you have to constantly kind of take care of it, versus the Deebot ones. It has these two pads, there's two of these, and they spin at a 360 degrees. So it's like a drill, it's constantly spinning. Where this one, it just kind of rocks back and forth. So I've noticed just after using this for a week that my floors are a lot cleaner, and it's honestly a lot more sanitary. They're super quick, they're magnetic, and they hold just right in place. One thing I will give the S7 Plus over the Deebot is its auto mop raising technology. So this is for people like, say that you have carpet or you have a rug and you have hardwood all in the same space. The S7 Plus will detect that there's carpet and it will actually raise the mop up for you, versus this one, the Deebot, where say that you want to vacuum your carpet, you actually have to take these two pads off, which I find a little bit inconvenient. I would love to see in a future model where these little pads actually raise up, just so that you don't, it's kind of more out of sight, out of mind. All right, but continuing on with the pads. So this is where, Ecovacs definitely takes the cake. So for this one, where, if I want to clean it, I have to take the pad off, I have to rinse it, put it in the washer and the dryer. This one, the docking station actually, not only does it wash the pads for me, the mopping pads, but it also air dries them with heat. And I thought that was cool because, especially like if this thing's sitting here wet for a week or two at a time, you're gonna notice like kind of a mildewy smell. I'm actually starting to notice it now. You can kind of notice like there's a slight funk around the room. I couldn't figure it out what it was for the life of me. And of course, as I'm sitting here with this thing, I'm like, oh, it's definitely the cleaning pads from the S7 Plus. All right, so another advantage that the Deebot has over the S7 Plus is the brushes. So the S7 Plus only has one brush on the right side, whereas the Deebot has actually two brushes, one on each side. The brush that's on the S7 Plus is made of kind of like a rubber material. And I found that it's extremely loud, especially when it's pulling up to the docking station. It's still spinning, so it kind of hits up against the docking station. And also, even when it's emptying, it's super loud, but I'll play the clip right now. But yeah, because you can see how loud that was. So if you're upstairs or you're sleeping and this thing's running at night, this thing's gonna wake you up. I actually had to switch the cleaning schedule for this thing from daytime or nighttime to daytime, just because it was just so annoying. That would wake me up. And also I noticed a lot of dog hair gets trapped underneath this brush. It kind of gets caught in the assembly itself. So that's gonna be a little bit of TLC you're gonna have to put into this thing, is every couple days, especially if you have like shedding pets or anything like that, you're gonna have to untangle all the hair from this, versus the Deebot, where this has been completely hands-off. Like I said, this is the reason one of the reasons why I'm keeping the Deebot and returning the S7, just because of the ease in terms of like the overall weekly maintenance for this. All right, so both of these systems, they do have their own app. I said you have the RoboRock app or the Ecovacs app, which I do like them both, but I have to give it to Ecovacs in terms of their app. Their app is a lot more user-friendly and also allows for more customization. The S7 Plus, I'm allowed to only schedule cleaning and then decide the suction and mopping power. That's really it. So this one with the Ecovacs, I can decide, okay, do I just want to sweep, or excuse me, do I just want to vacuum? Do I just want to mop? How much power, like suction mopping power, do I want to use? I can also use the patrol sentry mode to activate the camera. So like when I'm not at home, I can kind of see what's going on. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, Ecovacs kind of makes their app like a game. What do I mean by that? So when you scroll over on the app, you're allowed to collect something that's called Ecovacs points, and you can use it towards money off towards some of their products. So for example, so you can so for me, every time, like once a day, I check into the app, to the accessories, I get some Ecovacs points. I decide to use the camera on this, I get some Ecovacs points. So for example, a bottle of cleaning solution from Ecovacs costs 25 bucks, which, you know, that's pretty steep. It is a large bottle though. I think it's under my cupboard, but so it's a pretty large bottle, and you only put in 2 capfuls into the clean water tank. So it does last for a while. But I was actually able to use my Ecovacs points to get money off of that. It's weird though, like with their app, I have like 4,000 points, and every 100 points equals $1. So I'm like, oh, I got 4,000 points. I can use 2,500 of them and get a free bottle of cleaning solution. No, for some reason, it only let me use $7 off, but still, I got $7 off a cleaning solution. So I thought that was pretty cool. So it's just it's one of those things just to kind of troll you a bit and kind of get you more on board with the app. But in terms of apps, Deebot takes the lead over that one yet again. All right, so now we're gonna get to the main point, is why am I returning my S7 Plus and keeping the Ecovacs Deebot? Well, there's a couple reasons. I do have them written down here. So the first one being is that the S7 Plus is not as hands-off as the Ecovacs at all. What do I mean by that? So with this really tiny, flimsy water tank, I find myself every other day having to refill it. So there's something else I have to do, versus the Ecovacs, which once it gets to the docking station, it empties the dirty water and then refills it with clean water. So really in a week, I haven't had to touch this thing at all. Like, actually, this is the first time that I am touching this vacuum since I've owned it in like almost 2 weeks. So that's pretty impressive, where for this thing, basically it requires daily care. Going back into the mopping, another reason that I'm returning this is just for one, that like this pad alone, like I said, it stays dirty, it's gross, and just that goes back into it not being as hands-off as I want. RoboRock's website is very misleading in terms of like their mopping video. So in their mopping video, it shows like, you know, that there's a full, nice, like, you know, wet mopped floor behind this thing. That's not true at all. It does say in the instructions that say that you have this thing on a cleaning schedule, just leave it as it be. But say that you're home and you decide that you want to mop, hey, you need to pull this thing out, take it off, and you need to completely like put it under some water so that you can get a full mopping effect throughout the entire diameter and all that of the vacuum itself, which I thought that was really odd. So I did try both, you know, not wetting the pad versus wetting it. And another, like I said, that kind of goes into another reason why I'm returning it. So the mop stream, or the water stream on this one, is extremely small. It's like a little snail trail. It's only like, it doesn't cover the full size of the vacuum at all. And that was really kind of upsetting. So even though, like, you know, it's mopping the entire floor, it's not, you know, getting the entire surface wet, so to speak, and, you know, cleaning the entire floor, versus the Deebot. When I noticed that the Deebot it's mopping and all that, it covers like, you'll see a wet trail behind the entire, like, you know, size of the vacuum. So that was, you know, an instant win. And with those 2 constantly scrubbing pads, you're going to notice a much deeper clean in this one, the Ecovacs versus the S7 Plus. Another big reason that I'm returning the S7 Plus is just that it doesn't have a spot to empty the dirty water, which maybe that's not fair, because, you know, these in terms, they're kind of different. There actually is an S8, I think, that just came out that does have like an audio, like does have a docking station that does have clean water and dirty water. It's definitely not as big as the Ecovacs, but it's the same concept though with this mopping pad. It still has the raising mopping technology, which, you know, that's cool, but you're still gonna have to, like, you know, wet the pad and do all that. So you're still only getting that tiny snail trail of water that, one, it's not even clean, And like you can't do solution, can't do anything like that versus this one where you're getting the full size. So maybe overall not too fair comparison, but these are similarly priced though. I did get both of these on sale, which speaking of Amazon, let's talk about this. So here's a picture of the same exact S7 Plus. One is in black, one is in white. Why is the white one ridiculously more expensive than the black one? Answer that question for me, Amazon. I'm looking at you. Another reason that I'm returning the S7 Plus is one thing, just the lack of front camera, like I recently mentioned. Like, so you can see all the marks here just from it hitting my wall and all that. It's causing damage to my wall, and I'm honestly just not a big fan of that. Whereas on the Deebot, it's completely clean. It hasn't hit a damn thing yet. So just that's a plus for them. It's another reason why I'm keeping it. Now, the big main reason that I am returning this is this thing actually scratched my floor. After it happened, I've been actually reading on some forums, and apparently this is a common occurrence. So when we lift this thing up, you'll actually notice these 4 plastic, I guess you can call them like indents here that kind of poke out. These 4 plastic pieces right here have been known to scratch people's floors, and apparently it is a known issue. So when I look on my floor here, I notice, especially near the docking station, there's scratches all over my like laminate wood flooring, whereas this one has not scratched my floor at all, which that's a huge issue in my opinion. Especially for how much this thing costs and this thing is damaging people's floors, that's kind of unacceptable in my opinion. I may pursue like something with RoboRock about this, maybe write them a letter, be like, hey, this is what your robot vacuum is doing. I hope you're aware, but we'll see. But oh, yep, that's really the main reason. The other stuff, I wish I could say I could overlook in terms of like, you know, just how hands-on this thing is versus like, you know, hands-off the Ecovacs is. But my overall final opinion, like I said, returning the S7 Plus, keeping the Deebot, just because just how hands-off this thing is. You could literally, other than, you know, filling the tank, filling the clean water tank and emptying the dirty water tank, that's basically it. It will require some TLC from time to time, like, you know, brushing off some stuff just to keep all the dust out of the cameras and the sensors, but every robot vacuum requires that. You're not going to get away from that. Like, no robot vacuum is going to be completely hands-off. So take that as you will. But yes, that's why I'm sticking with the Ecovacs Deebot X1 Omni. Damn, that's a mouthful. It's a little ridiculous. But hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. This was my first, you know I normally do Tesla stuff, but this was kind of one of my first, like, you know, kind of tech style videos. I hope you found this very useful and hope that's helped. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel and haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button below. It helps me out a lot. And if you have any questions or concerns, comments, anything about these 2 robot vacuum mop combos, feel free, drop them in the comments. I'm usually pretty quick about answering those questions, and I'm always out to help people. But hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See ya!